So if you have two credit cards, say they have $5,000 balances, and on these 5,000, if you have 20 or 30%, doesn't matter. But if your card payment, your monthly payment every month is, say, I don't know what it would be on, let's see, would it be 200? Okay, so let's say you're in a negative cash flow of $200. This would bring you up the $200 out of the negative if you started putting your expenses into this account. So if you put your food, say $500 a month, and you put your gas for your card, say that's $200 a month. So $700 going in. When you put it in here, first off, this $5,000 is going to go to $4,300 now, right? Because you put in the $700. So that reduces the balance a little bit to help you with your interest. But when you put the $700 in, you knock out the $200, which now this can go towards the $5,000. Now with the interest rates right now and a negative cash flow, you're probably just going to meet your interest, but the card's not going to be increasing. It's going to be either breaking even or decreasing due to you've turned this $200 into cash flow. Now, if you have two and then you do the same to both, you let the cash flow go into this one and say this is $400, so you would have $400 cash flow, but he had a negative $200 to start with. That means he just has a $200 cash flow. When he takes some of the expenses, so say he took his electric bill and it's $300 a month. So if he puts his electric bill in here, he knocks that one out as well. Now he's to a positive $200 cash flow. So you would take the $200, maybe put in here. You could put the $400 in one and let the other one just actually expenses in until you kind of get this one paid down a little bit. I mean, you're going to have to get really strategic. If you're in a negative cash flow and you are still trying to maintain credit cards, you've got to play with your money. It's all about strategy. That's all Velocity Banking is putting your money where it serves you instead of just letting it sit in a bank. So you can divide up expenses. Now, if you have cash flow and you have two cards that are at the max. So if you have, let's say you make $5,000 a month and you have $4,500 in expenses, that leaves you $500. Now, if you had these same two cards, I would suggest that you start with one. So they're both $200 a month. You put the $500 cash flow that you have. Oh, you wish 5,000, right? 500 cash flow here. Then you would add any expenses. So say you're going to do your food and gas again. So the food was 500. The gas was 200. Then the card payment of 200. So see, you have $1,400 now going into this card. Well, when you have the $5,000 balance, you put the $1,400 in it. You take it right to a $3,600 balance. That cuts your interest for that day, and then as long as you leave it. So that is paycheck parking, is when you have a credit card even, and you're doing it this way. Now, with credit cards, we all know that you cannot make mortgage payments. You cannot make any kind of car payments, student loan payments directly with a credit card. So say you have a $5,000 credit card that's available and you have a $5,000 student loan, you would have to do the transfer into, meaning with a convenience check, doing a transfer. You're going to get fees for that, usually 4 to 5% right now, but it can be done, okay? Now, if you have a line of credit, you've got a gold mine. And that's what, when people write me on emails and I see that they don't have a line of credit besides a credit card, I suggest they go get one. Why? Well, if you have a $5,000 credit card, if you have a $5,000 line of credit, so a PLOC is what we call them. A BLOC, a HELOC, all the same thing, a line of credit. And if you have that $5,000 student loan that you want to get rid of, then you would transfer the student loan to the PLOC. Then, with this $5,000 income we showed here that we said $4,500 is expenses, so it leaves them a $500 cash flow, right? So when they get paid, the whole $5,000 can go into this PLOC. Now, what does that mean? You just paid off your student loan, right? Now you're just going to be paying your expenses through this. You were already paying your expenses. You were already buying your gas. You were going to the grocery store every week. You were already spending the money. So why not put it on a credit card, a line of credit, pay your debt off, work your expenses through this, let this pay down literally on its own. You didn't get a second job. You didn't eat beans and rice. You can get frugal. I don't care if you're getting frugal. You can sell your car. That only makes it go faster. I had a lady who, she may be on here, but she had a Mercedes. And she could not afford the Mercedes as far as it took her into almost a negative cash flow. Well, Dave Ramsey would say sell. Go ahead and sell the Mercedes and pay that off. And that's a great idea if she wants to get out of debt quickly. Sell the car, and you know, if you get any proceeds, put it on the debt. You know, he even suggests that you would go out and get a loan at a credit union. Like if you were upside down, if you had a $50,000 Mercedes, you sold it for $30,000 to get rid of it. He suggests you take a $20,000 loss and just pay that debt off. If you want to keep your car, you can still pay it off with Velocity Banking. You just got to get your cash flow up, okay? You just got to get your cash flow up. You got to make sure that you're making enough money to cover the Mercedes or anything else you have that's expensive. You get a line of credit from any credit union. You just really have to go. I was getting ready to say you need to develop a relationship with someone at the credit union, because that will help you get in with them to where, you know, I have people I contact directly, so you could do the same thing at your local credit union, but they're just the best for the local community, I think. But hey, if you've got a bank that works well with you, then wear it out, okay? Should I use my credit card for water bill even if they, well, the 3% fees, I don't do that. I have the same thing on my water bill. I just pay it out of my bill pay every month, because I'm not going to pay fees when I don't have to. Okay, I run my credit cards up to $400K and wait 7 years and do it again. Okay, you must be living in the hallelujah times. How do you pay off loans like Affirm? I would charge them off, you know, if you have to transfer them onto a credit card, transfer them onto a line of credit. I actually have 2 scenarios I think I did yesterday with Affirm, and they had account after account after account. Guys, you got to stop with the Affirm stuff. Wow. But yeah, they paid off a bunch. Started this week. It's a bit scary. Afraid credit card will keep going up. It is a bit scary, but I'm not afraid of what you're afraid of. Because I know it works. I am not concerned at all about spending money on my credit cards, because I know that once your mind changes, once you realize this is the real deal, this is the way we should have been using our credit the whole time, that's the easy part. The hard part right now in this credit crunch that we are in the United States, that's scary to me, because I'm telling you all how to do this. And if you have been running a credit card at the limit, if you've been late on payments, if you've been running it over the limit, if you have a low credit score, they're dirty. So if you make a $5,000 deposit on a $7,000 card limit, let's say, they are liable to cut you down to $2,000. And that cuts out $5,000 of your cash flow. So during this time, that's why I am saying over and over and over again, make micro chunks into those credit cards until you're sure they're not going to cut your limits, okay? We're in a very serious credit crunch here in the U.S., and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So just take care of your money. Make sure, like, if you have a large amount you're going to put on a credit card, break it down into daily micros. Just see what they do. You know, when you get past the 1,000, see if they cut you 1,000. That's exactly what I did, because I was afraid of the same thing, and that's how I handled it. Everything was fine. I don't know if they have like a system that registers how, okay, well, they put in $2,000, let's cut the limit, or I don't even know how they figure that out. But I'm just saying, be aware if you need to make micro chunks of $50 or $100 a day, just watch that balance go down. You know, you can look at your credit card every day. I used to look at mine every day. And it's all about literally putting it in there a little bit at a time, and let's see what they do. You know, let's see, because if you lose $50, or if you get to 900 say, and you have expenses coming out, because we're revolving those expenses. So as soon as you're putting in income, you may have food coming out where you're buying at a restaurant. You may have gas where you're buying gas for your car. So the micro chunks are going in just to cover those expenses that might come out that day or the next, okay? So I don't see them, if you put in 50 bucks, them cutting your limit 50 bucks, right? They're going to be literally waiting for that big chunk to go in, and then they slam you. So be good with your money, okay? Watch your credit. Don't let them do you dirty. You prepare for that.